Live from the City of Angels, it's Sunday night. You know what that means. MMT Sunday Evening Spectacular. And this is going to be, I'm going to try to make this upbeat, but it's very difficult, right? We are in the midst of a major problem in Hollywood, and more specifically, what this channel was founded in, and that is the love of the theatrical experience. And as we see films come into the marketplace and fall the way Furiosa just did this weekend, it is really a state of despair. And I'm trying to be as upbeat as possible throughout the night. I want your comments on the question, is cinema dying? Let's get to why we're discussing what we're discussing here tonight. Furiosa flamed out this weekend. It was bad. I mean, look from the Warner Brothers email. You can see here less than $26 million 3-day. Here's how bad it is. Warner Brothers didn't even bother to estimate Monday. Studios always do that on a 4-day weekend. Tomorrow, Memorial Day. Why did they not do it? Because they're like, good God, this film is falling apart by the day. Fewer and fewer people are interested in this film, and the question that needs to be asked is, why did this film essentially bomb this weekend with less than movies like Morbius? Guys, that's how bad this is. This isn't a joke. Like, this isn't something that we can just say and like, ha, ha, ha. No, this is very distressing. And if Hollywood is not feeling the pressure of this moment right now, they need to. They need to wake the F up, because shit's going down and there's a lot of mistakes being made in this town. I'm going to get into one or many of the reasons why we're seeing what we're seeing. And you know what one of them is. Before I even go a step further, I'm going to get it out of the way right now. Until we start hiring people based on talent versus skin color versus the sex versus whatever bullshit you want to hire on, we as a society are going to be effed, because society works when we go with merit, damn it, merit. And we don't do it anymore. We go with, well, this person checks a box. This person makes us feel better because we're virtue signaling. What a weak-ass world we live in when we got virtue signaling bitches out there. Don't be one of those people. Okay. I was just going to be chill. I was just going to talk. And then you knew that was coming. And I'm right. Anyone from Hollywood, and they watch, by the way, a lot of big dick swinging Hollywood folks do check the show out, because they know when they get on MMT that I'm going to be speaking the gospel truth, and they wish they could say what I'm saying through this microphone, but they can't, because this is a liberal haven. I am not liberal. I am not conservative. I am common sense. I am objective. I am fearless, and I wish more people in Hollywood were. I can tell you right now. Here's why Furiosa flamed out this weekend with less than $26 million. The number one, now these are not necessarily in the strength of why this film bombed. I'm just going to lay out the top 5 to me. I'll go to your reasons as well here tonight. Thanks for being here. Give me a like, subscribe if you've not already done so. There is limited interest in the Mad Max franchise. You go and you look back at Fury Road and you think about a film that made $1 billion worldwide, right? That's what you initially, your inclination would be. This is a massive worldwide hit. Of course, 10 Oscar nominations, 6 wins, and wait, what? Hold on. Worldwide, $379 million. So I think we were all, including myself, listen, when I came on the reaction stream on Thursday, I had this film for the 3-day at 47. I was 20 off. Let's pretend that didn't happen. In fact, the fact I brought it back up again is proof that I will just lay it all out there. I'm not going to hide behind a take I missed. And it's sad. But, I mean, you go look at the number. Why were we expecting so much out of this film, which, as you saw back in 2015, Fury Road was at $379 million worldwide. Now, as I say that, one of the really concerning issues here is you look at the difference between the opening of the two films. You look at Fury Road 2015, when money was not worth more, right? Because, of course, inflation now, everything's gone through the roof. So now when you look at people's finances, we'll get to that in a minute, you are looking at an opening at 45 that really in today's money would be what, 55 or more million? So this film is $20 million under Fury Road, which is a major problem. Also, if you look at this film at a per screen average, per location average, which is very key to understanding how bad these films do, or conversely, how strong they are. Go back and look at Dune 2. Guess what the per screen average, per theater average for that film was when it opened earlier this year? $20,000 per screen. Guess what Furiosa was? $6,700. That is a third. It's a third. So if there's any question about whether this film bombed this weekend or certainly didn't meet expectations, there's your answer. $20,000 for Dune 2 and $6,700 for Furiosa. I think one of the other big reasons there's not a question about it is the switching genders. There's a lot of people out there who don't like that. There's whole channels based on the anti-woke brigade, right? You know that. You know what these people are going to say before the microphone comes on. The one thing you guys know from MMT is when I come on here, I might surprise you because I don't have an agenda. I am, at the end of the day, and always was, a journalist. And when it comes down to objectively looking at these things, then I'm not just going to pick a side until I see the film. So many people didn't even bother to see Furiosa. By far, one of the best, if not the best film of 2024. Also, I made a strong case for it being stronger than Fury Road back on Thursday. Go watch the reaction stream for all the reasons why I believe that to be true. That said, when you get rid of Max and you bring in, quote, Maxine, you're going to alienate a significant portion of the audience. There's a lot of people who want to see Mel Gibson back. I thought that would be a nice touch at the end of this movie, have Mel step in. But, listen, for whatever reason, he is still kind of persona non grata here in Hollywood. We know what he said in the past. I'm not going to debate what he said is a little ugly, no question, but at some point, bygones be bygones. We got to make money here. This town is built on money. So you make the decision that will help you out financially. But Warner Brothers didn't want to do it. George Miller didn't want to do it. And we didn't get Mel Gibson. But going back to making it all about Furiosa versus Max, we had that kind of split lead, as we know, when you go back and look at Fury Road. So here they just say, we're going to get rid of Max. And listen, you have a billion videos you can go pick from YouTube that discuss every single time that they gender swap in a film. Disney does it all the time. The one I always bring up that none of you bother talking about, I'm sure, has anyone even done a video about this? I feel like I should. Go watch Cars 3. In the middle of the last race, Lightning McQueen bows out for Cruz Ramirez. I was like, what? That got me angry. Cars was the one. But look, there are many instances of Hollywood doing that and shoving kind of an agenda, right? I know, trust me, the anti-wokers are yelling right now, kind of shoving. Okay, absolutely just pushing it right there. Here's our agenda. And as such, there's a lot of people who are not happy with that. And whether you are or not, and certainly I am kind of in the middle, right? It depends on the film. In this case, I don't think it's an issue. I think Furiosa rocks. It's my favorite film of the year, along with Challengers. I think the other thing we talked about on Friday night is very much a big part of what is happening here. And no one is discussing this because on Twitter, certainly film Twitter, they live in a bubble, right? Half of film Twitter lives with mom and dad in the basement or the spare bedroom. So they don't know what the real world is like, and paying bills, right? And having to afford things now that cost so much more thanks to the inflation we've seen since the start of all that free COVID cash that we were all given back in 2020 to stay home and keep grandma safe. If you go to a movie theater, you'll kill everybody you know, including, and their friends, and right? Remember that shit. Well, guess what? There was a bunch of money printed, and what do you think is going to happen when you hand out billions in free cash to people? You're going to have to inflate the price of things. And look, I don't care what you buy. You go to the store, you don't live with your parents, and you actually have to purchase things. Everything is at least 25% more. In some cases, 50+%. I don't care what your politics are. I don't give a shit if you love Biden, if you adore Trump. Doesn't matter. Right now, with Biden as the president, the economy sucks ass and people are hurting and they're having to pay a ton of money they didn't have to pay years ago. Whether that's Biden's fault or not doesn't matter. Who gets blamed? The president. Don't bring your politics into this. I'm not a political guy. I call things as they are and I'm right. I know I am. And that's a big part of this is the fact that people are not going to spend whatever money they possibly have left over after having to pay for the rent and the food and the gas to go to the movies. The movies are not cheap. Listen, if you don't have A-list, you need to get it. It is $25 a month for 12 movies. That is unbelievable value, right? You're talking about $2 a movie if you use 3 a week. I use at least 2, usually 3 a week on AMC. They're not making money on me. Someone told me AMC does better and they want people to have the subscription and barely use it, right? Like anything. A gym. They don't want you in the gym. They just want to have a bunch of people that are members so that they can raise the money and not have too many people in at one time. Well, AMC doesn't want everybody using all 12 movies. Unfortunately, I'm a loser for them. Not a loser overall, just a loser for AMC. You can get it for $25, do it. But family of 4, you're looking at $100 right there. If you are barely able to afford your rent or your gas or the food for your dinner, are you going to spend $100 a month on movies? Especially when a lot of people say these movies aren't great. Listen, this year's been bad. Okay, outside of Furiosa and Challengers and a few small films I've mentioned over the past few weeks, certainly Asphalt City. I know. You would think I'm getting paid by Vertical Entertainment every single time that I've brought up Asphalt City. Femme, Sasquatch Sunset. I saw the TV glow, but either way, there hasn't been a lot of winners this year. You go look at Fall Guy, bad film. King of the Planet of the Apes, oh my God, generic. I really dislike that film. You go and you look at Even If, disappointment. Garfield movie we'll talk about tonight. What in the hell was that? There's just not a lot of quality. So you're asking people to spend money on something that's not fantastic? That's the other issue about Furiosa. It's a shame. I am borderline distraught that this film didn't do well. When I love a film, you guys know I want you to see it. That's what I started this whole thing in the bedroom doing years ago, was to get movies that I love and champion those and have you go see, you ready, Sully, if you're here, Asphalt City. That's what we're doing. We're not trying to talk about anti-woke this or Star Wars or Marvel. Oh my God, Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars every day. Get me a gun and it's done. The stream's over. I can't imagine talking about that shit. The mythology of all the comic book nerd shit all the time. Oh, it's literally like I can't. I zone out as soon as I see that. But a lot of you love it. God bless you for loving it. A lot of people are waiting for streaming. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, go back to COVID. You look at all the films that the studios gave people at home versus making them venture out to the movie theater because, remember, of course, it was too dangerous. You can't go to the movies. In LA, they were shut down. I had to drive to Vegas to see Tenet. That's how bad it was. Remember that? So we almost lost theaters. But then you also had studios like Warner Brothers putting everything that they were unloading in theaters also on HBO Max day and date. And that really hurt business because people were like, well, if I can watch it at home for how much is Max? $10 a month? I'll just do that versus go to a theater because there were still lingering COVID fears. Whatever, man. Don't live your life through fear. If this ever happens again, don't. I'm telling you, listen, the next time around, whatever happens, short of scanner shit in the street, people's heads exploding, I'm going to continue going about my life. In fact, actually, if people's heads are exploding, I'll probably just be like, that's fine. Oh my God, I got a little bit of brain on me. I'm going to keep going about my business. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to hit the movies. You just can't live your life through fear. But when we saw that, certainly most people did, and they chose to cower versus to stand up and say, let's get after it. And I hope you do that now versus the other way when we do this again, and we're going to do it again, damn well we will. Okay, so when you look at streaming, it is a major problem because a lot of people are very comfortable at home. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is the studios keep wrecking these windows by putting things at home way before they should be available at home. If you want to protect theaters, you cannot allow Universal to put the Fall Guy at home in 3 weeks. You need to make it at least a 45-day window. I've talked about that ad nauseum on this channel, that if you made me AMC CEO tomorrow, instead of Adam Aaron, the 90, how old is that guy? He's 1,000 years old. He sits around and does shit. By the way, AMC shills, if you don't like what I'm saying, I got news for you here. Too fucking bad. I am tired of you AMC shills saying, oh my God, you can't say things are bad. I love AMC, but I can also tell you that we're just about in really bad trouble right now. And if you don't admit that, I don't care if you have stock. I don't give a shit about the stock. I care about theaters. So you need to understand that you need to face reality. I'm so tired of these AMC shills coming into my Twitter feed going, well, you're an asshole for saying the Furiosa bombed. It did. Do you go through life in fantasy world? What do? How do you exist in reality when you won't admit that? That's the problem with shills, whether you're a shill for a studio or a shill for AMC, for whatever you shill for. You're biased, and I don't like biased people. I hate hive-minded people. Sorry, it's the reality of it. Don't be like that. Be objective. So AMC shills, don't come into my feed and tell me I can't say what I'm going to say. I can still love AMC and still hammer what is happening and look at the marketplace and tell you that it's bad and the stock should go down tomorrow. Sorry, it should, because Furiosa just bombed. And you got a CEO, and Adam Aaron, who's sitting on his ass, not getting windows extended. And you're going to come after me for telling you that Furiosa's bombing instead of going after Adam Aaron and saying, hey, bitch, get in there and get your windows locked down to 60 days if you can, 45 at a minimum. Instead, oh, don't say Furiosa bombed. These people, don't be a cultist. I can't stand cult thinking. Do not be like that. I don't care if I just lost 1 million subscribers off of this. I will never play that game where I'm pandering to the base. It's never going to happen. I love AMC, but unfortunately, your stock's going down tomorrow. It should go down because this film bombed. Are movie theaters relics? That's the big question here tonight. I didn't want to go off like that. But I just have to bottle it up when I have these nameless, faceless AMC stock shills coming after me on Twitter for saying the reality of the situation because they want me to be a fucking cheerleader. I am not a cheerleader. I am not your cheerleader. I will never be your cheerleader. I will only endorse things I believe in. I love AMC. I love the movies. I want to see them succeed, but I'm not going to play your game where everything is sunshine and roses, because it's not. Is cinema dying? That's the big question here tonight. If you look at where we are, the reasons Furiosa just bombed, the reason that we are here discussing this tonight, we're in bad shape. I'm sorry, AMC stock guy. We are in really bad stuff. If you want to get the good sunshine and lollipops bullshit from Roaring Kitty, go for it. If you want to talk about the state of the marketplace, we need to be worried. And we need to be concerned that these studios are getting away with these short windows that are hurting films. Now, I'm not here to tell you that if Furiosa somehow had a 90-day window, it would have opened to 50 million. I'm not telling you that. That's not correct. Here's what might happen, though. If you start to retrain audiences that they cannot just sit around and wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it'll be at home, they got to wait 3 months, then you might be on a little bit of a course correction that we absolutely have to have. So go bang your CEO for that. Do not come after me for saying that shit. You should be angry at your guy getting paid $20+ million doing nothing about the problem. I'm not the problem. I'm the hero. I'm tired of having this conversation. I'm the bad guy. I'm the good guy. I, unfortunately, am outspoken for some of you. Too bad. It is what it is. I'm also way too authentic and way too fearless. The other people are like, well, I'm going to cower in the corner. I'm going to virtue signal. I'm not that guy. I live life. I get out. I do things and I speak my mind. That's how you should be. Do not be a cultist. Do not be hive mind thinking. I'm going to point to a cinema champion as we get into this and your reasons for why it bombed, for is cinema dying? Are we in trouble? All of that coming up. But I want to show you one of our true champions of cinema in Sean Baker. His new film, Anora, just won the Palm at Cannes, and that is the highest achievement there for that film festival. And what I love about Sean Baker is the fact that he is a die-hard cinematic champion. This man loves movies. This man goes to movies. This man says, I only will make movies for the big screen. He's one of the rare filmmakers out there that will only work with a studio that has a theatrical component. In other words, F Netflix. By the way, we're going to drag Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos next, but here comes Sean Baker's acceptance speech, and this is why he is our cinema champion, Sean Baker, the winner of the Palme d'Or over at Cannes for Anora.
Literally has been my singular goal as a filmmaker for the past 30 years. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, but I do know that I will continue to fight for cinema, because right now as filmmakers, we have to fight to keep cinema alive. This means making feature films intended for theatrical exhibition.
Amen. Hell yeah. Why can't David Fincher say this shit?
The world has to be reminded that watching a film at home while scrolling through your phone and checking emails and half paying attention is just not the way, although some tech companies would like us to think so. Watching a film with others...
That's a slide of Netflix. We love you, Sean.
Watching a film with others in a movie theater is one of the great communal experiences. We share laughter, sorrow, anger, fear, and hopefully have a catharsis with our friends and strangers. And that's sacred.
Exactly. And this guy gets it. I can't wait to see Anora. Listen, I love his filmmaking. I'm not a huge Red Rocket screenplay guy. If you were to rewrite that and make it more grounded and certainly even more depressing rather than a weird comedy, I love the way his films look. Go back and look at Florida Project, and you look at that film. They're both really as well made as I just love to see a film that looks like that and breathes like that. But I can't wait to see it, and we love Sean Baker for this. This is a real win for him, not just winning the Palm, but also the fact that he is only about working with studios that have theatrical components. You look at a filmmaker like a David Fincher who has a contract with Netflix. Netflix is the problem. Netflix is the issue. When you you guys ready for this? This is insane. Okay, first of all, let me reload this and I'm going to show you. He looks like a mafia don. Do you see this? Let me hit it one more time. This is Ted Sarandos, who is the CEO, co-CEO of Netflix. You ready for what he had to say? There he is. It's an interview from the New York Times, and I'm not going to pay the New York Times. Sorry. So I'm just going to have to show you that, and we're going to go to the tweet that sums up exactly what he had to say about Barbie and Oppenheimer. You guys ready to lose your shit? You guys ready for really a terrible take? I mean, here it is. It's time for the terrible takes. Here it is. It is Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos argues that Barbie and Oppenheimer would have been just as big on Netflix. There's no reason to believe that the movie itself is better in any size screen for all people. My son's an editor. He watched Lawrence of Arabia on his phone. This guy is everything that is wrong with Hollywood. He doesn't love theatrical. He just loves making product and making his stockholders happy. Well, listen, the world would be better if we didn't have Netflix. It would be a far better place if we didn't have to deal with shit like Atlas. I'm not watching that movie. I already know what to expect from a Netflix movie. Extremely underwhelming work. Every single film. There's only been a couple of examples of films that I really liked. Power of the Dog. I like the direction, overall feel of the film. And then you go back, look at The Two Popes. Really high on that film. But that's like two. You guys ready? I didn't hate Maestro. But you look at May, December, terrible. I mean, laughable. Remember film Twitter telling us that May, December was supposed to be a comedy? Yeah, if you're laughing at it, like literally how bad it is, it's a comedy. Netflix is a company I'd never work for. You could write me a check tomorrow. Hey, Weber, we want you to come work as the distributor of film. You're going to work with, nope, I don't want to work with Netflix. I'm done. And you know what? Guess how many other people have this stake? Nobody. Nobody else in this town has the balls to go after Netflix the way I do because they're afraid, again, you know why. Oh, I could not get invited to that next party. I don't want to piss anybody off. Why don't you ask Erick Anderson, Awards Watch, ask him to say something bad about Netflix. He was in their pocket for years, okay? Maybe still is. Almost got hired by Netflix. Didn't get hired, but why do you think he almost got hired? He was in the pocket. He's a shill. That's what happened. Listen, Erick, you watch the stream, go for it. Dispute what I said. Dispute everything you can't. That's the problem. I have sources. I have good sources everywhere. And here's the reality of the situation. The majority of people in this space are more worried about the next party invite than they are the reality of the situation and calling things what they are and trying to save movie theaters. But yet, Weber's the bad guy. Weber's the villain, not the shills, not people out there that are actively trying to destroy everything that we grew up with and the sacred places, the temples of film, cathedrals, as I call them, of film, right, that we get to still enjoy. Can we enjoy those for another 10 years? Are they going to start disappearing? Truth is, if you had to ask me, what's going to happen to movie theaters over the next several years? I'm telling you that we're going to start losing a lot of them. I'm getting a lot of tweets and comments here on the videos of people saying, I lost 2 theaters near me, 3 theaters. There's a lot of places outside of LA, New York, Chicago, the main cinephile cities that are not doing well when it comes to movies. And when you have the slate of films we've had this year, it's a real problem. We are lucky that we have Despicable Me 4 and Deadpool coming up. And someone said, oh, imagine saying that. Do you not understand? These people on film Twitter are so fucking dumb that sometimes I read their shit and I go, there's a reason why you have no audience, for one, and for two, don't relate to any human being. If you can't understand why I'm telling you we need Despicable Me 4 and Deadpool in theaters, and you don't understand why that's important, then you don't get shit over your head. You're clueless. You don't grasp things very well. We need those films because they're both likely billion-dollar films. And if you want the film industry to survive, you need to have big hits so that hopefully Hollywood will redistribute that money into some product that is not a tentpole and we get back to making great films. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's is going to happen if that's the case, because we have a lot of people in Hollywood that frankly shouldn't be where they are. We talked about it off the top. Listen, the reality of the situation is until we change what the mindset is when it comes to hiring people, and we hire people for talent, and we do not care about the color of their skin, nor the sex, nor if they're gay, if they're straight, if they're from, I don't care. The second that we change back to we're hiring only talented people, and if you happen to check a box also in addition to the talent, then we're gonna hire you. That's how it goes. But until Hollywood figures that out and still wants to do the virtue signaling bullshit and hiring people who don't have the talent to back up the position they're supposed to be hired in, we are going to be fucked over and over and over. And it's not going to change until that mindset flips. And I'm not wrong. I'm not the bad guy. I'm not wrong for saying what I said. You come after me right now in the comments. You tell me how I'm wrong. You're right. You can't. Because I don't care about white, black, Hispanic. Doesn't matter. What matters is, are you talented? That is all. I don't even care. I don't want to know. I don't want to know any of that shit. Don't check any boxes. I want to see your name. I want to see the talent. That's it. And if it happens to end up checking a box, like I said, Godspeed, awesome, let's go. But if it doesn't, don't care. We're going to make the best movie possible. We're not going to virtue signal and check boxes and say, oh, how great we are. Look at us. No. Also, let me state one other thing, and this is, I'm sorry. Here comes Weber being totally the villain again. No, not the villain. I don't care what your story was growing up. I don't give a shit. Did you make something of yourself? I wasn't raised with money. I wasn't raised rich. I had to make my way in this world. I imagine like a lot of you. I didn't have things handed to me. Anything that I have earned in my life, I've worked for. I don't expect handouts, okay? Yeah, sure, of course we got some free COVID money. Whatever. That's what expected. I'm talking about I have never applied for anything in my life and said, I'm a white guy, you should hire me. I hope to God you're not watching me here on a YouTube stream saying this guy's great because he's white. Who cares? Doesn't matter. What matters is the quality of the content. And if you don't want to work for it, I don't have any pity for you whatsoever. You earn your shit in life. Stop pretending that stuff is owed you. It's not. I don't expect anyone to watch the channel. I love you all for watching. If you decide to watch the shows, whatever. But the point is I don't expect it. I never have, never will. You work for it. End of discussion. Hollywood overspends. The theaters are undervalued in the system. People take care of themselves and give their attention to what helps them. Hollywood and theaters are not helping ordinary people. That is the problem. The problem is, thank you, Felicity, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And really for being a big fan of the channel means a lot to me. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Is that Hollywood needs to listen, if you want to just be as blunt as possible, we need to absolutely go in and etch-a-sketch this. I'm talking, remember etch-a-sketch. You draw a drawing, then you rip the top off and it disappears. We need to, in many cases, go into studios and to etch-a-sketch the entire department. We need to get rid of so many people in this town that do not belong in the positions they are in because they were there for box checking, for nepotism. You need to back up your work based on talent, based on what your output is. I'm not going to just give you the green light because you did something great in the past. Are you still doing something great? That is very key. Go back and look at Wonder Woman 84. A travesty of a film. The fact that James Gunn booted Patty Jenkins is a sign that there's some hope in this town. I don't care if Patty Jenkins is a woman. That is one of the worst sequels, I would argue the worst CBM ever made. The screenplay is enough to never work again in this town. That is what a shit show, embarrassment, disaster of a screenplay that Wonder Woman 84 is. And the fact that James Gunn, you know what? Here's the deal. I would love to have James Gunn on because I have a feeling Gunn would be like, everything he's saying I believe in. I can't say all of these things on the Warner Brothers lot, but what Weber's saying is pretty much what I believe in. He is going through what he's doing with the DCEU, and he is, I think, using a lot of that template of just tearing it up and going to talent. And I really want to applaud James Gunn if that's the case. It feels like that's the case. We need more of that. And here's what will happen. The sooner that starts to occur in Hollywood, where people are out on their asses and we get talent in there, people that deserve to be there, you can turn this shit around. But until you admit that we have people in positions of power who have zero talent, who slept their way to the top, who are nepotistically hired, who are checking boxes, we are going to suffer and we're going to get terrible screenplays like Wonder Woman 84. We're going to get bad screenplay. I think it was written by a white guy. Oh, look, Weber's attacking a white guy. It's not about race. It's about quality. Never is. I don't even know. I don't want to even know who the director of some of these films are. I just want to watch it and go, this is terrible. And then, oh, by the way, it's directed by a minority. I don't care. It was directed by the whitest guy on the planet. It's terrible. Like, you guys, how do we not get that? Why is that so hard to understand? That some of us who grew up as Gen Xers didn't look at our friends as white, black, Hispanic. We go, this is my buddy. Period. We didn't say he's a buddy who is gay. He's a buddy who is black. What? It's so dumb. Why do we do that shit? But Hollywood loves to do it because they want to feel good and virtuous. And that's the problem. So Felicity, listen, Hollywood's got a lot of problems. But if you ask me what the number one problem in this town is, it is a lack of talent in key positions at studios. People who are in a power position to make things happen, and they have no effing clue what they're doing. Let's also talk about this. We talk about it all the time here about critics. How many critics are good? Very few. Because you're looking for three things. You're looking for someone, A, with taste. You're looking for someone who is fearless, 2, and you're looking for someone who's not a shill. That's 3. That's very hard, right? So you don't usually get that 3. You might be looking at one. Maybe it's hard to say. Maybe. But when you look at someone who is good at talent evaluation and screenplay and knowing what is good and bad and deciding what to greenlight and what to absolutely kick to the curb, you must have a taste, ability to evaluate a film like Garfield, which from a screenplay perspective is one of the worst adaptations of any source material that I could ever imagine. Like, if you were to present me with 50 versions of the Garfield movie script, this would be number 51. Like, this? You guys made this one? You picked this over this one? We'll talk about why in a minute. That's the problem. We have people here who have no talent, who have no taste. They're not fearless because they're afraid that got a box check. Got a box check. And when you don't have any of those things, when you're not fearless, when you have no talent, you have no taste, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to end up with movies like Fall Guy. Not a great film. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Generic bullshit. McDonald's sci-fi crap. Absolutely fantasy bullshit. That movie's not great at all. Like, that's the thing that makes me angry too. You look at King of the Planet of the Apes, nearly $300 million worldwide. And you look at Furiosa, a film that absolutely destroys it every which way. And I know that, I got called out on that on Twitter. I hate when people do that. No, you're missing the point again. I'm pissed that Furiosa opens to 60 million worldwide and Apes Kingdom is at 300 million worldwide, and it's McDonald's bullshit. And you've got Furiosa, a really great piece of cinema, and it didn't do well this weekend. But, here's the other thing. It's weird. I know that for this channel, it's not a problem for me because obviously you guys watch the channel. You know what I do. I don't hold back. I certainly don't have to put things through a certain thing. My audience only expects me to be anti-woke or pro-woke or whatever that may be. Can you imagine having to watch a movie like Furiosa and come out of it, and even if you loved it, having to force it through the lens of this has to fit into my anti-woke persona? Because if it doesn't fit into my anti-woke persona, my audience is going to lose their shit. Would you not rather have somebody who comes on and you don't know what they're going to say because they're objective? They don't have an agenda. Then they are not afraid to say what the reality situation is. Furiosa is a very good film. Number 1 film of the year for me, along with Challengers. But again, if you're an anti-woke, I've got to put everything under this lens, then you're going to only say, it's because they didn't have Max. Listen, we can debate whether that was the right decision and if maybe they should have been Max in this movie. But on its own, Furiosa is a very strong film. And the problem is you can't make that leap because you have boxed yourself in to be the anti-woke guy. That's the thing that's beautiful about this channel. We're not boxed in. Every time you watch, you're like, I don't know what he's going to say, except he's going to say merit. He's going to go off on the because technically I'm anti-woke when I'm talking about only hiring on merit, because woke is saying that these people are better because of the color of their skin, which is racism. How is that not racism? How is it racism? These people are better because of the color of their skin. No, they're not. They're the same. We're the same. Ultimately, peel the skin off. What are we? Human beings. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We make such a big deal about this because we have all of these grifters out there going around making money. That's the other problem we have. We have people out here that are selling their souls to do shit that is underhanded because they know they can make money at it. This channel would make a lot more money if I were sitting here railing on anti-woke shit 24/7. Look how popular it is. Look at what Gore did. Gore didn't used to be like that, and all of a sudden he's like, well, my niche is kind of like, let's just go after the anti-woke. So every time time there's something that's woke, oh, it's terrible. That's not to say it's not, because there are times that's true, but it's not every single time. It's not universal. There's just times where it does work and times it doesn't work. I would admit, I will say this, a lot of times now it doesn't work. But in Furiosa's case, it works. And anyone who says this film is not strong because of no Max is wrong. I'm sorry, 100%. Andy, I'll go to the super chat. I disagree with you often, but I admire the genuine tenacity and honesty you have. Keep fucking them up, man. I appreciate that. I really do, Andy. Listen, it takes a lot to say some of the things I say. And I think one of the big keys about what I've been able to do, and you guys know from even if you follow me on Twitter over the past, let's say 5 years and seeing where we started and where we are now, once you cut off the Hollywood system and you do not care anymore about getting invited to a movie, nor the approval of your fellow loser critics, the majority of them, not everybody, but a lot of them. There's so many. Guys, you don't even understand. There's so many. And first of all, not only could they possibly be, quote, losers, they also are under-talented. The majority of them don't have any talent. Sorry, come after me. You can't. That's the thing. Bring it, guys. Come on, roll up. Here's the truth, is that you have to cut yourself off from the Hollywood system and not care if you're going to get an invite to a party. If you're going to get to that next screening, you say to yourself, I don't care. I'm going to see it on Thursday with all of you, because ultimately I'd rather talk about the movie when you've seen it rather than 3 weeks early where, like in Poor Things' case, everyone came after me and said, you didn't get into details about why Poor Things sucked, because I talked about that movie like a month before it opened. And that keeps you're in handcuffs, because if I start talking about too much, because you're spoiling things. If the movie's out, I can go ahead and just do it freely. And also what that does is it removes any fear of retribution by the studios in not inviting you. Gore is still afraid of that. Gore couldn't live if he wasn't invited to the next open bar function. I know Gore's recovering. We wish him a good health, 100%. But at the end of the day, he's still tied to the system. He still worries about that stuff. He still drives across town to go see the things on a Tuesday versus just waiting to see it on a Thursday. That's his decision. Godspeed. Here's the reality of the situation. I don't care. So if they cut me off, I'm good, because you don't have to worry about being invited to anything. I don't care. And the other critics in the space, let me tell you what I have that you don't, and you know this is true. And this is super chat is perfect. Thank you again for giving me this one, Andy. Is that I have credibility. You guys largely don't, and you know I'm right. Most of you have zero credibility, because either you're a shill or you're untalented. Sorry, it's a bad combination. Usually it's both, right? You're shill, you're untalented, and you are not fearless. All three. I'm the bad guy, but those people, untalented, not fearless, and just generally terrible at what they do, which is untalented. Those people are the good people. No, sorry. I'm just abrasive at times. Realities are, that's how I am. Deal. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to change. All right, any more super chats? We'll go. I need a producer. Where's I DM'd Gone Girl and asked him. He didn't bother today. I was pissed off. Let's do something positive here. Life of Bright. So Blue Angels is unbelievable. Listen, we're going to get to more comments, but I want to speak about Blue Angels for a minute. I sat in and watched a little bit of this movie again last night before I had to sit through the dreck that was the Garfield movie. That's up next, by the way. When I watch Blue Angels again, it's everything that I love about going to the movies. On a big screen, you're in the cockpit, you've got this really well-told documentary, excellent music usage, you've got that Killers coming in at the end. I'm telling you guys, if you can see this film in IMAX, go see it. It is one of my favorites of the year. It's definitely in my top 5. I should have put it in my top 5. I don't know why I didn't. Blue Angels is a great film, and I know it's at home on Amazon Prime. Go see it in IMAX. Go see it even on a regular size screen. It's always better. Always better. Simeon, why are these studios so obsessed with streaming? Streaming services are losing money, unsustainable, hurting box office, a lose-lose situation. You might think that, Simeon, but I think the reality is they know something we don't. They clearly, like Universal, knows that there's something going on that they're not disclosing, because there's a reason why they are putting these films at home so fast, because they want to try to get as much box office as possible and then to double down and get that as quickly as possible, the digital cash coming in, because people know it from being in theaters just 2 weeks ago. So I think there's a lot of that in play. But here's how you fix it. Going back to AMC, going back to Adam Aaron, $25 million a year. He can't do what I'm doing here tonight. He can't go in tomorrow. I'm telling you, well, tomorrow's a holiday. Tuesday, if I am Adam Aaron, I am getting on the phone with Universal, Warner Brothers, Sony, Disney, who else? Paramount, definitely not Netflix because they don't give a shit or care, or we don't care about them. Neon, A24, Sony Pictures Classic, Vertical, all of them. Conference call. And here's how it goes. Hey, guys, thanks for joining me on the call. Here's what we're doing. AMC, as of August 1st, will be instituting a 45-day theatrical exclusivity window. And let me explain quickly. It's very simple. I mean, there's really not a lot to explain. You guys just heard what I said. It's 45 days from the day that you debut in an AMC theater. You cannot be at home in any capacity, whether it is a streaming service or just a digital buy. It's not possible. If you break that contract even once, your films will not play at AMC for minimum 1 month, maybe longer. We'll go case by case on that. But right now, I'm giving you guys till August 1st, which is 2 months, right? We're giving you 2 months here to make the decision. Do you want to play your movies in AMC, or do you want to remove the largest theatrical exhibitor in the United States from your theatrical exhibition schedule? And then they will go, oh, yeah, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think is going to happen? They have to play. They have to play. And the difference between now and COVID is before, the studios had the leverage. Now, the AMCs, the Regals, the Cinemarks have the leverage. The problem is we have ballless $25 million CEOs who won't make a call on Tuesday morning, a conference call to all the major studios saying you got till August 1st, and then you give us a 45-day window and it's over. Why? Why am I sitting here on a Sunday night talking about this? Something that would be instantly help out the situation. Would it save it? No. But would it help? Yes, of course it would. You guys know it would. Why? Because he doesn't want to piss off the studios. And it's just like I talked about with the critics. The critics don't want to piss off the studios. When you all of a sudden realize that you don't care whether you piss off the studios, I understand it's a little different when you're dealing with multi-millions of dollars in stocks and all that. You don't think he has the leverage? You don't think that Adam Aaron has the leverage now? Right now. Of course they do. But he won't do it. And yet, again, Weber's the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. I'm sorry, I'm not an AMC shill stock guy. Go watch Roaring Kitty if you want to. Because Adam Aaron, I don't know. You know the shit part about this world? Another thing that sucks, you've got these old ass, drag them out and put them in the pasture CEOs who are getting paid tens of millions of dollars to do essentially jack shit. And I know that here come the AMC, but he does this. He didn't do what I just told you. Would that not help? Yes. Well, because we have this good old boys network going on, God forbid, because here's the thing. If they put me in that role tomorrow, the studios, they all know who I am. Trust me when I tell you that. They know, and that's not an ego thing. They're aware because I carry weight when I say shit. These other shills don't carry any weight. They're part of the system. I'm not part of the system, and they go, holy shit, not only is he not part of the system, he's actually operating outside the system and still managing to have an impact on the system. That's a dangerous thing. So here's the truth, is that if they put me in that position tomorrow, I would make the call Tuesday morning, and I would have everybody on the line. We get a 45-day window, or I'd certainly absolutely say we're going to go up to the edge, and who's going to blink first. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to be me. This guy. I'm like, well, I mean, guys, listen, the one thing you'll always get at MMT, without question, is unvarnished authenticity, fearlessness, and I will say what I believe to be true, and I will not hold back. Most people don't live like that. They live like, I don't know, I don't want to piss someone off. Or what if I say, think about all the things I just said about merit. Think about all the things about who cares about skin color. Oh, I could get canceled. Wow. Why are you going to cancel me? How are you going to cancel me? You can't. You can't. Because what I say is true. The more people actually start voicing realities and not being afraid of the repercussions, whatever those are, Film Twitter coming after me. Who cares? Clip this. Send it out. Send it out, Film Twitter. Go for it. Just know this. You'll never, ever have the balls I have. You never will. As long as you live on this earth, you'll never possess 1/10 of the fearlessness and the absolute sureness that I bring to this every single time. You won't ever, because you're afraid that you won't be liked, that you won't fit in, that you might piss somebody off, that someone might say, I can't believe he just said we shouldn't care about the color of people's skin. Whoa, who cares? I'm right. I'm always right. I'm tired of being right and all these other wusses out there. God, in my opinion, Netflix has a lot of good series and true crime. Okay, fine. But I don't want to talk about them as a movie studio. I don't care about them as a streamer as far as series. Doesn't matter to me. Let them go. But I'm pissed at them for them not being good theatrical partners with the entire movie community. They play their own game. Sarandos does his own thing. As you read that article, he thinks he's God. I mean, listen, that's the other problem we have in this town. We have a bunch of people. Listen, this is kind of funny. If you just watch the stream, you're like, that sounds like you, Ever. You sound like you think you're God. No, I'm not saying. I just told you I was wrong about Furiosa by $20 million. That's terrible. But here's the thing. I would have still made Furiosa, even at $168 million. That's a great film. Even if I lost money, I would still make Furiosa. I love it. I think it's a very strong product, so I believe in it. I don't even care if it bombs. And also, someone else was talking about on Twitter today, why do we judge everything whether it bombs or not? We're not judging the artistic value of Furiosa. That's the thing. Go back and listen to my reaction stream, listen to anything, go back and read my tweets. I love the film. So the problem is we have so many people that are like, I'm afraid to say something bad about something I love, and that's the AMC shows. They get angry because they're like, why do you love movies? And then you say, like, AMC stock should go down. Because it's the reality of the situation. The movie just bombed. AMC stock should go down. I know that doesn't make you happy because you probably have stock. I don't have stock. I can say whatever I want. But the reality is, if I am running the stock, God knows, don't even ask me don't have me explain stocks. But I can tell you this. If I'm the market, AMC's going down on Tuesday. Sorry, I can't tell it any other way. Conversely, it'll go up when Deadpool arrives, when Despicable Me 4 arrives. But until then, it's not going to work. All right, here we go. I know. Oh, he's terrible. Weber's the worst. Okay, you guys ready? Here it comes. Here comes the Garfield evaluation. Oh, my God. So I grew up with Garfield. He was in the Sunday papers. You know, when you were a kid, Gen X, Sunday morning, you got the paper, you open it up, and you're like, okay, here's the cartoons. Let me go through these. And there's Garfield. Garfield's a big deal to those of us who grew up in the 80s. It was like, he's a thing. And of course, they made the movies before, but now we're back. And we've revisited Garfield. And it is so underwhelming. This is a perfect example of a film that a studio just made based on the IP. We have seen this so many times where you get an IP situation that should provide gold, and instead we get garbage. You go back, you look at Five Nights at Freddy's. How in the hell was that film not great? Or at least fun? Well, it was neither of those things. And yet, here it is with an opportunity with this IP. And when you look at Garfield, same thing. You're like, here's a perfect opportunity for us to make a really fun, funny, smart animated film, and it's none of those things. There is one positive thing to say about Garfield, that it has a vibrant animation style. I like the way the film looks. I like, at times, a little bit of the score. I know that's so specific. I don't hate the way the film appears on the big screen, so that's a positive. Everything else here is going south, including the big one. This is not just a bad screenplay. This is a bizarre screenplay. Okay, you look at Five Nights at Freddy's. It was terrible. The screenplay kind of works with what they're doing, but it's not fun. It's not well written. There's all this drama attached that doesn't need to be there. This film, let me just walk you through what happens in Garfield. So Garfield, they has the origin story. He was left in the alley by his dad. His dad's a deadbeat alley cat, which is fine. Great, whatever. Well, no. We're not just going to have the dad. The dad's going to be the central piece of the story, as the dad is being attacked by an angry ex-cohort of his as they used to rob milk places on farms, and she got put in the slammer, and he escaped, so she blames him. Hold on, I'm not done. And then she comes back to get revenge, and Garfield gets kidnapped, and now Garfield and his dad have to go rob the farm where the milk is so that they can pay back the angry bitch overlord, mafiosa, and she is trying to ruin his dad's life. For a second, I want you to take all of that in. Everything that I tried to explain about this film, please just hear me out. And then it's so terrible. This is why Hollywood's getting fucked, because of movies and screenplays like Garfield. I mean, it's that simple. And then they have to rob the farm. And then at the end, there's a long escape, and it's Mission Impossible-esque, only horrible. Nothing's funny. All the jokes are lame. There's also a ton of product placement. This is very much a Sony emoji movie situation. There's like Olive Garden and random things that are thrown in here. This is a perfect example of destroying an IP by attaching a shit screenplay to it. And if I were the head of Sony, I would never have greenlit this script, Wonder Woman 84. I would never have said yes to Five Nights at Freddy's, the way it was written and the way it was produced. I would never say, hell no. I would say yes to Halloween Ends. Oh, Halloween Kills was the least fun. Halloween Ends was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Given what the IP is, we have a real problem in this town of IP being savagely destroyed by subpar writers. And that's what we have here with the Garfield movie. The fact I gave it 50% is really a gift. I mean, I was just giving it this because I watched it in 3D. And again, the vibrant animation in 3D kept me almost from falling asleep. I might have dozed off for 5 minutes. Terrible screenplay, bad film. And by the way, this opened at emoji movie level, so don't tell me Garfield's a hit. I had an AMC show coming after me. Garfield's a hit. No, it's not. It opened at emoji movie. You all said emoji movie bomb. So wait, why is this? It's not great. So we have this summer have been screwed, not just in all of the issues we've talked about, but you look at the quality of the product, terrible. Fall Guy, you've got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, If, and now Garfield. These are 4 bad films. And listen, once you continue making terrible films or just really, really odious ones, you are going to lose customers. I mean, if I had a restaurant and I serve garbage food, every 5 orders, actually, that'd be wrong. I apologize. Every 4 out of 5 dinners were terrible, and 1 was really good. What would you come back to the restaurant? Would the restaurant still be in business? No, that's what Hollywood has done this year. They have given us 4 terrible meals and 1 outstanding dinner. The 4 terrible films are Fall Guy, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, If, and Garfield. The only good film is the one that sadly bombed. It's Furiosa. And that's why, again, I'm so sad here tonight, borderline depressed. Sorry if I've completely got angry and been more savage than usual here tonight. It's because I love Furiosa. I really like the film a lot, and it's a shame that it disappeared. It's bombed. I mean, the fucking film bombed. All right, here we go. The agenda, right? The event agenda. All right, let's go. A few more, and then we're going to go to open lines. Open lines. Thank you, Thinking of Film. Next time, give me something to say. I'll say it. I'll say it. But thank you for Super Chat. Next time, they should make sure to get screenwriters that are aware there is a Garfield. Exactly. Why is Dad even in this movie? Seriously, Sully, did you not ask that question? Not only why is he in the movie, that's fine, but why is he the centerpiece of the film? Samuel L. Jackson is Dad. He's the whole thing. Deadbeat alley cat dad stealing milk to, save him going to the pound. It's terrible. Listen, I could rewrite this movie right now, real quickly. Garfield's at home. He all of a sudden ventures outside, and someone grabs him along with Odie and their cat nappers and dog nappers, and they take him to the big city, and he has to make his way back. I know what was the movie we just saw that was like that? Oh my God. It was it was the one with the dogs that cursed. What was that film with the dogs that had the F-bombs? that film, just make that film only Garfield. Hollywood just copies and pastes. That's a better film than this shit, stealing things from a farm and then having to go back and get on a train heist and fight on the train. Like, this is Mission Impossible. It's just a terrible script. We have a real dearth of talent out here in Hollywood when it comes to writers. They're just not very good. Chris Pratt must be stopped. I don't hate Chris Pratt. It's not his fault. The script's bad. The script's bad, but it's not his fault. The film's bad. Okay, here we go. Let's do Shill of the Week. I wanted to do that. Let's get him in here. And let's talk about one of our shills. I like to, it's been kind of a rough night. I've been kind of, nasty and mean. I want to have some fun and still be nasty and mean, but have fun with it, not be so angry. So here we go. Our Shill of the Week is Dave Morales, everybody. Dave Morales works in Houston at a TV station. I want to say the Fox station, Fox 26. And he called the Garfield movie an absolute blast. Now, you wonder why he said it's an absolute blast? Get ready, guys. Here is his interview with Chris Pratt, and get ready to cringe.
I see the grin. My friend, Chris Pratt. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, Dave. How's it going down there?
My friend. What, really? He's your friend. These people, I'm telling you, man, the people that are in this space, a lot of them, they think they're friends with the stars. They're like, oh, yeah, the stars. Chris Pratt's like, look at him. He's like, yeah, I'll do this. I mean, whatever. What's his name? He's looking at the cue card. The guy, there's someone in the room who has like, good to see you, Dave. How you doing?
All right. How did you channel your inner cat?
By the way, what is he wearing on his head? What is Dave Morales wearing on it? Can you guys help me? Let me make it even bigger. What is Dave Morales wearing on his head? Is that a backward baseball cap? It looks like a chef's cap without the thing around it. Okay, let's continue.
To voice Garfield. Great job, by the way. I love this movie.
I love it.
Thank you so much. Well,
hold on. Let's listen to Chris Pratt again say that, because it's so just like Pat. Listen one more time.
That's what it came down to.
Hold on.
Well, just a lot of
to voice Garfield. Great job, by the way. I love this movie.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, just a lot of licking my own butt.
What?
That's what it came down to. Mark Dindal, our fabulous director, said he'd been working on this movie for a couple of years.
Hold on.
Already before I was on
board. They took a couple of years to write this movie? Holy crap. Okay, get ready. Wait. Hold on.
Come in and give us your voice. And I was like, that sounds cool to me.
I like Chris Pratt. Sorry, guys. I know you don't like me saying that.
Just show up and be.
Hold on. Let me just get you where Dave talks about.
And that's kind of how I channeled that he recognized.
Listen to this.
Chris, I've known you for a long time. You definitely have an inner cat. You have a lot of inner stuff that I like.
What? Wait, hold on. One more time. Just one more time on that. Let me just hear it one more time. You have a lot of inner stuff I like. What the?
Speaking of which, that was weird. All right. Anyway, but you know what I miss. I've known you for a long time. You definitely have an inner cat. You have a lot of inner stuff that I like.
What? If I said that, you know how that'd be clipped? That would get clipped and I would be on forever. I would be. And the reason, by the way, Dave's just doing an interview. I'm making fun of Dave because every time there's a quote from one of those ads for a shitty movie, guess what? It's always Dave Morales with his backward, poofed up baseball cap telling me it's a great film. Thank you, Strays. I'm like, hey, thank you for the super chat there. Thinking of film. What is your thoughts on Chris Pratt's choice of films? I think he just takes money. Chris Pratt loves money. He's getting paid a ton of cash. Yes, Chris Rock has a quote saying that if you can get paid to voice animated films, it's like the best job ever. So you don't think you just walk in. You guys have seen The Simpsons where Krusty the Clown goes in and does his doll thing, and he's got all the cue cards. He goes, hey, I'm Krusty. Hey, I'm Krusty. And he rips them off, and then the guy has the tape, and he's already in the limo, and he's like, I'm ready, Krusty, and Krusty's already gone. It's the easiest job. You come in, he just probably goes through, and he goes, hey, I'm Garfield. Hey, lasagna looks good. And then he walks out. That's it. That's all he has to do. He has to voice the terrible script. But he gets paid. I mean, Chris Pratt, God bless the guy who's making a lot of money. I'm not going to get angry with him. Paul Revere. So yeah, Chris Pratt, I think, is just all about cash. So he's not going to be asked to make an awards film. Nobody sees him that way. I think that he can do it. I do. I think that Chris Pratt, if you go back and look at Moneyball, I think that Chris Pratt can do that. He's just not going to get the opportunity because they view him as the voice of Garfield and the voice of Mario and Star-Lord and everything else that he's done. Oh my God, Passengers. right? It is a big cap. It's a oversized cap, Aaliyah. Thanks for being here tonight. Paul, I really hate these YouTube channels that are celebrating Furiosa bombing. These people annoy me the most. People are accusing me kind of that, and I don't think that, that's not fair, because I don't. Because here's the thing. Those same people trash the film, right? They want to see it bomb. That's bad. I do. Listen, I'm not going to, okay, I got to admit something. When I see a film I hate, I don't mind if it doesn't do well, because I don't want bad films to be made. I don't want to see another Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I don't want another Apes film. We're done. Just let it go. I don't want to see another Avatar movie. So if it doesn't do well, I'm actually going to be okay with that. Conversely, Furiosa is a very good film. I would argue great. And as such, I don't want to see it bomb. So I'm not celebrating. And also, the other thing is that if Furiosa did well, what would those people do? What would they say? Like, what's the pivot point? If it does really well, you go, well, they replaced Max, and therefore, I don't know why it did well. So it's weird, like you're pigeonholing yourself. I don't want to be like that. I want to always be able to pivot, to swivel, and to adjust as need be, given the situation and the facts of the situation. You should never be so drilled down on one side or the other that you can't vary your opinion. I was hard on Furiosa. You go back and watch that reaction stream. I was making fun of people saying it was not as good as Fury Road. Then I come out of it, and I think it's better than Fury Road for all the reasons. Go back and watch the reaction stream. So yeah, I don't like these film people, YouTubers who come out, but listen, remember, that's their shtick. Paul, these people have a persona they're trying to live up to, and they have to filter everything under that lens. If it doesn't, their audience is going to lose their shit. That's what we have here. We have credibility, and we have an ability to be objective and to never know for sure how we're going to fall on a film until we see it. Now, there's some films I won't watch, like Babes. I'm not going to watch Babes. I don't want to see that film. It looks unwatchable to me. So I'm not even going to go into it because I already know that I'm going to hate it. So I'm going to try to stay away from it. And I'm not going to see it. But I think a lot of people, almost like you said, they do celebrate it. It's part of who they are. And that's not where I want to be. Have I done that? Of course I have. But that's not every time. It's selective, and it is also, as far as I'm concerned, objective. After watching the film and thinking it's terrible, like Poor Things, I don't want to see it make $100 million. It did. Therefore, I can't change the fact that it was successful. I wish that it weren't, because I really disliked the film, but I'm not going to, switch teams because of how it does. It's weird. I think that it's 10 out of 10 interview. I agree with you 100%. So riveting stuff. Those things, I've done them before. I remember when in case you guys didn't know, I used to be on TV news. I'll show you listen, at some point, one of these nights, I will drag out my resume tape of me as a news anchor, and you guys will be like, Jesus God, who is that? First of all. And second of all, but the funny thing is, if you go back and watch me doing news, you will see elements of this in that. Anyone who's ever been where I've been, Orlando, Boston, Charlotte, LA for a very short time. Whenever I've been on television, you watch and you're like, that guy's doing something a little bit weird and a little bit different, and he's not really following the teleprompter. And that's what we do here. So ultimately, when I started this channel, it's like I can't even imagine working for somebody anymore who said you have to do this or read this. I'd be like, listen, here's what I tell you. If I worked during COVID, and remember, COVID was such a thing about fear, numbers, death. If I worked at a TV station during COVID, after a few months of that, remember, we go back, forget about the first month. We were all kind of like, I don't know. I kind of knew it was kind of like shady, but I really did. I 100%. Ask anybody who knows me, they knew I was on it really early. But you go back and you look at how we had to deal with that. If I was at a TV station and they said, here's what you're reading today, because a teleprompter pops up, right? So I'm looking at the camera, and in front of me are the words. And I'm looking, Grace Randolph uses a teleprompter. Watch her. She's reading a teleprompter. She looks here. The teleprompter's here. I don't use a teleprompter. Clearly, I don't use a teleprompter. But when you're doing local news, you have to read the teleprompter. If I was reading like today in the news, our top story, COVID deaths, I'd be like, this, and you could ask anybody who works with me. I'd look over at my co-anchor and I'd be like, are we really doing this again? We're going to do this again? We're going to talk about COVID death number. We're not going to talk about anything else. That's what we're going to do. What do you think would happen to me? Weber, you're out of here. You're fired. Because that's what I was. Everybody who ever worked with me knows that's what I did, because I can't stop myself from saying what's on my mind and what I believe to be the truth. And ultimately, remember, liar, liar. What was Jim Carrey? Every time he tried to, that's me. I can't hold back. That's why I savage people and I don't turn back. That's why. And by the way, since I'm wrapping up the stream and we got a few more minutes, here's something else because I know he watches. I'm going to torch this bitch one more time. Simon Thompson, let me tell you something. If I ever see you out in LA, I promise you this, it will not be pretty. I'm just telling you that. Know that. Know that right now. I'm not fucking around. If I see you out, it's going to be bad. So I would recommend we do not cross paths. That's all I'm going to say. Remember I told you that, and I know you watch the channel. I'm not fucking around with that shit. I'm not playing. You are a bitch. You're a little fucking bitch. Don't fuck with me. I swear to God, dude, that's all I'm going to say. Oh my God. Seriously, that guy. If you guys can do me a favor, go into that little bitch's comments and destroy him. Destroy him. I can't tell you why. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. I am essentially certain that he created an account that is him using a burner account and said some things about me that were personal and crossed a line that I promise you this. I told you again, I don't want to be around that kid. If I see fucking kid. If I see that guy, it's going to be bad. Okay? And let me tell you something. You guys know how I roll. I don't fuck around. I go to the gym. I'm legit. I'm not some bullshit like these flabby ass. That dude's about 5'2". He's a pudgy ass little bitch. I'm not like that. Remember, I told you that. And you, my friend, are a bad person. That's the only way I'm going to put it. You're a bad person, and know that. When you go to bed at night, remember that. That's not a good thing. I don't lose sleep over being a bad person. I'm not a bad person. I'm certainly outspoken, but I'm not that. Oh yeah, no. It's not just listen, Lizzie. I have very good. Let's just say it's not just listen. When I call someone a shill, when I go after somebody, I say this about Frosty or this and that. I have never once crossed into family or personal bullshit. When you start going into that, you've crossed a line that is uncrossable. And here's the other thing that I will say I'm going to go a little longer. I didn't even want to go there, but I had to say it because I'm telling you that you got to know that there are people in this business that are bad people. Listen, Weber's outspoken. Weber's this, Weber's that. I'm not a bad person. Nobody would ever say that. I have never purposely done anything terrible to someone. Have I said someone's a shill? Did we just make fun of Dave Morales? Have I called Frosty weak and all the things I said for being a COVID thing? Did I say anything about Frosty's family? Did I say anything about it? No. When you cross a personal line, watch out. And these people in the space cross personal lines. And let me tell you something. You need to, listen, you got to figure out a way to be a better person. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's so messed up, man. Well, here's the thing, Slacker. They also are jealous. At the end of the day, Simon Thompson doesn't have an audience. Nobody gives a fuck who that guy is. And because he's unimportant, he's not interesting, he's not fearless, he's a sniveling little bitch. And at the end of the day, if you're that person, then you, of course, are going to hate somebody like me, who is... I didn't start this to get a name, to get views. I started this to love movies and to be outspoken and to talk about things that I adore. And when you are somebody who is trying so hard to be liked, trying so hard to be part of the crew, trying so hard to stand out, you are insufferable and you're desperate. And I don't have those qualities. And when you don't have those qualities, people naturally are like, I like that, because he's not trying. He's just doing it. He doesn't seem to care, because I don't care. So listen, good. Be like that. Be like that. No, because it's not personal, Omega Swiper. If we're talking about movies, it's not personal. That I'm talking about a film and we're debating Furiosa, or you loved Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and I called it McDonald's garbage. I'm talking about crossing the line and making it personal. That's the thing. Well, listen, Schlacker, at the end of the day, as long as I can do this, I'm gonna ratchet things up. I mean, movies are just a thing I like to do. At the end of the day, I can tell you this, that if you gave me a Rogan type show, I would annihilate it in a good way, not in a bad way. Annihilate it, because Rogan is even doing this. He's handcuffed. And here's the thing. I don't think they'd allow me to do a show because I would say things that would cross a line and be like, we can't have that. Remember when Rogan started talking about vaccines, right? And what happened? They came and shut his ass down. He had to apologize. The day I have to start apologizing for something I say is the day I exit. I'm not going to do that because what I say is what I believe to be true. And ultimately, it's not personal. What I've said about any of this stuff, about being a shill, about this, about being weak, that's whatever. That's personal attack about a certain attribute. It's not a personal thing. And that's the thing, is I don't want to be hamstrung by having to appeal to a demographic, to having to appeal to an audience, to having to whatever. You guys know I don't care. I just don't care. I guess it's true. Maybe it's just Gen X in general. All right, a few more comments. I'm going to get out of here. It is a holiday, so I went 15 minutes long. I didn't even want to go there because that little... God, I almost said a word. I almost said a word that they would actually probably ban me on Twitter. No, he's not. No, I'm saying it would have been bad. Here's the thing, is that you got to call the shit out. You cannot let people just do that stuff. And ultimately, when you stand in your truth, people respect it. And I think that for sure, it's 100% how I am. I don't know. No, the thing is the truth is no, I'm not going to verbally. I'm just, here's the reality is I don't care anymore about getting invited. I don't ever want to cross paths because I don't want to go. When I walk into those critic screens, I have to sit around people who are largely shills, largely untalented. And sorry, I mean, listen, again, that's not personal. That's just calling it what it is. And the reality is that I'm not part of that clique. I don't want to be part of the clique. I want to do my own thing. I love the fact that sometimes I go to AMC. There was a woman the other day I was going up, and she turned around and goes, listen, I watch you on Twitter, and I don't even know if she watches the channel. I see you rock. And she was being real. And I go, I appreciate that. But the reality is that that's not why I do this. But if someone appreciates it, I do appreciate that. So Felicity, for Gone Girl, for all of you out there, for Schlacker, for everybody here, Mega Swiper, everybody who's been here, John, on and on and on and on. If I left somebody out, trust me, I'll get back to you. At the end of the day, I do appreciate it, and what we're doing is different, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to change. They're terrified and worried because the reality is that the channel's building, right? The channel has grown. Here's what I'll also say about MMT. It is forever the Riddler's channel and the Batman. Yes, we know that. And you're not serial killers, but you know what I'm saying. Is that if you look at, and this is crazy, it's like, I feel like, and this is, wow, here comes the army. When I say, like, I'm the Bill O'Reilly of the movie space, there's a lot of people who used to watch Bill O'Reilly who hated him, but they watched him. And if you look at the subscriber numbers, we're 2,000. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't care. I'm just saying, I know what the number is. Of course I do. Duh. But if you look at what's crazy about MMT, which doesn't make any sense, but I guess it kind of makes sense because I think ultimately it speaks to what we're doing here. If you look at the views to the subscribers, it's like it's sometimes a 50% ratio. A good YouTube channel gets to like 10, 12. We're at 50. Sometimes we're pushing that. We at least get to like 33 or higher. That's insane. You look at the views to the subscribers, it's really high. I mean, Gore's channel doesn't pull that. He's got 100,000 subscribers. He gets like 5,000 views. What is that? 1/20th, right? So when you look at, so that's good. I love seeing that. Not because, here's the thing, man, it's weird. It's not because I love to see the views go up. It's because I love to know that what I'm saying is getting out there because I believe what is being said deserves to have a platform and deserves to be heard because it goes further than the majority of people will ever dare go. And the more people we have like that, the better we're going to be. And I think ultimately, the more I come back to being objective and to being, when you watch, you go, I listen. I may not agree with him, but like the super chat said earlier, I respect you. And ultimately, that means more to me than $100 million in the bank. I'm not even kidding you. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. But you know what? The funny thing is, if I had the views of a Stuckman, if I had the views of a Nerdrotic, if I had the money flow of that, here's the thing. I wouldn't even put it into my house or my car or any of that. You know what I put it into? I would create an MMT screening room with the money. That's who I am. This is about cinema. It's not about me. It's about celebrating movies and making, hopefully, you guys see films that are great films. So it's not about money for me. It's about making something. It's about sponsoring a team. By the way, tonight is Man United, who won the FA Cup. So it's one of my favorite jerseys. Remember, kits, wherever you are, here's what I'm going to tell you. I've said it before. If you can, one thing that I recommend, highly recommend you do, go out and buy an authentic Adidas or Nike, but I do like Adidas more. Authentic kit is unreal. Look here. It's got the little, hold on. Now you can see my six-pack. I got to get back. It's not quite where I want it to be. It's got the authentic patch. This jersey it feels like literally like the finest suit. It fits me perfectly. I love it when I put it on, and I love the fact that you guys sometimes enjoy watching. Thank you. I try. But you know the other thing is, Felicity, you guys know, where am I going tomorrow? The gym. I try to keep myself in good shape so the jerseys look good. I know that's weird. I understand that sounds strange. But do you understand the psychology of that? Like, kind of like, I owe it to the kit to make the kit look good. I know that's weird. I totally know it's weird. But whatever it takes, if that's your drive at the gym, who cares? Are you hurting anybody? Is it a personal attack? No. You are saying, I want to look better in my jersey. Good. Oh, listen, I've got an Arsenal Authentic. I'll wear it next Sunday. It is the latest, right? The 2023-4. The same thing. You know, this fabric is, the fabric on this is, they call it, I think it's called, whatever it's called, heat dry. The fabric is so fine and so light that even on the hottest day, it's so great. You guys really should. Okay, lots of adult movies coming this summer, may not be hits. Bike Riders, Kinds of Kindness, Maxine, Blink Twice, Long Legs, Watchers, Horizons. I agree. I can't wait for some of the better films to come in. Maxine's my number one most anticipated film of the year. I can't wait to see Long Legs. I love Oz Perkins. You guys know how much I adore Gretel and Hansel. Cinematography, score, production design. Oh, man. So Long Legs is going to kick ass. I want to see Long Legs. I want to see Honora. I want to see Maxine. I don't want to see the Channing Tatum thing that you know, my Knives Out looking thing, whatever it's called. Kinds of Kindness, I'll be open to. I hope it's not as weird or as disturbing as Poor Things, but I'm excited to see it. I love the trailer. The trailer's unbelievable. That trailer is perfect. It's short. It's mixed perfectly audio-wise. When you got Sweet Dreams, you got that thumping. If you saw that on a big screen in IMAX, if you saw that trailer, when it pulls out, I don't know what they did with the audio. There's probably an audio person watching who would know. And they actually like bring the bass up, so when it goes to, so it's like Sweet Dreams, and then it shows like Kinds of Kindness, and he brings the bass up, it's like boom, 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 and then they bring it down, so they're riding it up and down. It's really well mixed. That is an outstanding trailer, because it doesn't even show you what the movie's about, which is the best trailer ever. Unlike Universal, I just watched a trailer from Universal the other day. What was it? Was it not Despicable Me? Whatever, name the trailer. It was a Universal trailer, and it was the whole movie again. It was the whole movie. Why do they keep doing that? It's the other reason why people aren't going to the movies. I forgot. Let me add that to my other reason. I want to be real, guys. Whoever can be fired up and passionate and destroy a film person, but the dudes, yeah, listen, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing is, I don't know why. It is certainly something that a lot of people are challenged by. And I think especially in the film space, because most of the people in the film space are unremarkable. They don't do things. They're not doers. I said today on Twitter, you know, I'm not a virtue signaler. I'm not a talker. I'm a doer. My life is all about doing things. Man, half the things I've done in my life, you wouldn't believe, first of all, not crazy, not like terrible things, just like things that if you looked at like almost like a Forrest Gump kind of situation, you'd be like, holy shit, this guy's life. But that's the key that's my message to you as we get ready to wrap, because I'm fucking tired, is that if you can get out, experience the world and not be afraid and just go places and live the best life you can, you're going to be happy. And I think so many people pull back and they worry about what other people think of them. They worry about, you know, the approval of others. I think when you don't and you just live by your own ethos, good, then you will attract people because they'll be like, wow, this guy's got something. He's different. And I hope that you guys see that because that's who I am. You know, if you meet me at AMC, you're going to meet the same guy you see here tonight. There's no difference. It's not an act. And so many of these people are, and I'm not phony. I never will be. I can't do it. It's impossible for me to be phony. If I'm phony, you'd know it. You'd be like, this is terrible. You know, and Furiosa is a great film. And as we leave here tonight, I'm literally wilting. 120. It's the longest stream we've done in a long time. 124 on this. We'll go to 130. I got 6 minutes. Here we go. Guess what our MMT must see is? Goes back to the top. Yep, it's Furiosa. Get out and support this film. This is one of, if not the single best film of the year. I know that the anti-woke brigade will not tell you that because they can't. I am going to tell you that I believe, and go watch my reaction stream for all the reasons I'm not about to get into again because it was a lot of energy to put that out. I want you to go watch and understand why I believe that this is a stronger film than Fury Road. And for me to say that, you know I believe it. You can disagree with me, but you know ultimately that I fully support when I say that you need to go see Furiosa in IMAX, in Dolby, in 4DX, in whatever premium large format that you have near you. You need to make it happen because you're only going to have a 2-week window here and it will be gone. We're lucky that there's nothing coming in next weekend. If there were something coming in next weekend, we would be screwed, and so would Furiosa because it would be taken over. The fact that there's nothing else coming out next weekend, it's like nothing. Literally, Ezra, there's not a big film. So the good news here for Furiosa, even though I don't believe it's going to recover, I definitely do not believe that. But the good news is that at least it has a chance. Do I believe it will? No, because now the tide has turned. It's going south. Word of mouth is bad as far as just, it's like, it's toxic, right? It's like, what's that thing from Tropic Thunder? He's like the kid on the playground with lice that nobody wants to go near. That's Furiosa. And unfortunately, it's a shame because, again, that's why it's the must-see. It is a great film. I would argue, again, better than Fury Road, and I think almost every element at least matches, if not exceeds, certainly the epic storytelling here. It's a much bigger story. I love George Miller as a director, and you look at one of the most undervalued directors in a George Miller, and this is a great film, and that's why we're sad. Ultimately bring it back to being a state of kind of depression and being angry and lashing out throughout the show. I wanted to see Furiosa succeed. I didn't want to be like these other YouTubers seeing this film bomb and saying, look, this is what happened when you were get rid of Mad Max. I understand your point, but when you watch Furiosa, you can't help but love the film. It's one of my favorites, if not favorite film of the year. Go see it this week. Please do that for me. I don't know if we'll have a stream on Thursday. Listen, do the notifications, and maybe we'll pop on if there's some big news story for a short stream. I like those Friday night streams if we have some box office to talk about. But right now, listen, next weekend's nothing. So right now, I'm going to take a little break. It's Memorial Day weekend. Go out and enjoy yourself tomorrow. Get out. Do something. Go out with people. Hang out. If you're ever up at AMC Burbank, come say hi. Not everybody, but most people. You guys are all good. But the other people I don't want to see. You guys I'm cool with. So come say hi, watch a crappy movie with you like Pool Man, which I sat with Simone and we watched. Terrible, fucking terrible. I will do that with you, and anytime. Just let me know when you're in town and I'll maybe pop there and say hi. It's that close. I love going to the movies. Let's hope movies continue. Leave comments and tell me what you think can save Hollywood. I've gone through the many reasons why I think we're in trouble, and hopefully it can get turned around. Let's pray. Let's make it happen. I want to see movie theaters succeed and thrive and continue in the future the way that they have in the past. Good night. Live from LA. I'm exhausted. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. I'm out. Peace. See you next time on MMT.